appreciate it.
Diane, you've brought a guest today, and please introduce her to us, and then we're going to delve into some deep thought with this guest.
Well, today I brought Debbie Foley with me, and Debbie and I went through the end-of-life caregiver class together through Crossroads House about 2 years ago, and I asked her to come in today because she's become a recently published author, and her book, Emma's Song, is available on Amazon. Grief is something that everybody goes through, and everybody carries it differently. And for Debbie, part of her healing journey was not just journaling, but writing a book. Mm-hmm. So I'll let her tell you about her journey through grief and why she wrote the book.
Thank you, Diane, for bringing another guest in. And I have to say, Diane had this thought about a year ago about bringing guests in, and the power that they have had in their stories and sharing them with our listening audience has been phenomenal. And it's been a wonderful addition to the program. Please welcome to the studio Deborah Foley. And Debbie, welcome. Thanks for coming by today.
Thank you for having me.
And we have in our possession, she brought us a signed copy, and I cannot wait to read it. It is called Emma's Song. And I want to find out a little bit about why you wrote the book. What was the inspiration?
Well, my sisters challenged me to write a book, and I said, well, I'm not a writer, but I got nothing else to do. And as I started reading a book on how to write a book, mm-hmm. It just came to me that I was going to write about a teenage girl who had lost her brother to suicide. The first scene is his funeral.
Oh, wow.
And so she's a high schooler, and it's basically goes through her journey of grief. And the reason suicide was chosen is my son, Sean, mm-hmm. took his life when he was 18. Oh. It's been 25 years. And even though I feel that I've healed from from my grief, 25 years is a long time. Mm-hmm. And it was a long journey. I found while writing this book that it all came back out.
The emotions are still raw.
Definitely. I basically cried writing each chapter, mm-hmm. except for a few of the funny ones. Those I laughed from.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But as I finished this book, I felt that Sean's story has now come full circle. Now, this story is not Sean's story. It's mm-hmm. not our story.
Right.
But all of the emotion and the grieving process and the different emotions you go through after you've lost someone, especially a child.
Right.
In Emma's case, it was her brother. Mm-hmm. I think it expresses, from at least my experience, the different types of emotions you go through at the different stages.
Can you give us some insight, Deb, about your experiences that you've had in the grief process? It's been 25 years, but like you said, writing this book drove those raw emotions out. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. One of the things that I think people should know if you have a friend or you know someone who mm-hmm. has lost someone, especially after the first 30 or 60 days after the funeral, mm-hmm. that first period of time, usually there's a lot of support.
Right.
Once the 30 or 60 days are gone, people think you should just move on.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't talk about it. They don't want to. One of my big things was, it's okay to say his name.
Right.
Well, I'm afraid if I say his name, it'll remind you that he's gone. You're never going to remind me that he's gone. It's never gone from my mind. I always know that he's gone. Mm-hmm. And in fact, at one point, one of Sean's friends called me. It was probably maybe 6 months after he was gone. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was his birthday. And she said, I wanted you to know I was thinking of Sean today and remembering, and she said a memory of something they had done together.
Sharing that with you.
Right. And it really touched me to know, oh, somebody else remembers him.
Right.
I'm not the only one that remembers him. And I think that's important when you're trying to comfort someone. Mm-hmm. Let them know that you remember, especially after time has gone by. share the happy memories.
Right.
It's always nice to share the happy
Instead of avoiding talking about them at all.
Right.
Share the experience that they were here. And maybe they're not here now, but that they had impact with you. I like that thought.
And they're not forgotten.
Right.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Give us some insight. Again, we're talking to published author, Deborah Foley. Deb has a book that is available, and we'll talk about where you can get it. It's called Emma's Song. The inspiration drawn from her own personal experiences, but the book written about a young girl who lost her brother, a high school student, and her brother, and it opens up at the funeral. How has Crossroads House trained you in dealing with your own personal loss with your son?
Well, I think my grief and how I handle grief helped me to be there for the residents and their families.
Mm-hmm.
I really am just comfortable comforting people. It heals me. I get more out of Crossroads than they ever give to me.
Yeah.
But also, from a personal standpoint, my training there and my experiences were a big part of the second half of the book. And also in my personal life, outside the grief process, my training for preparing for end of life helped me do that with my parents. Shortly after the training, I had an opportunity to discuss. My parents had planned their funerals,
Mm-hmm.
but not what they wanted for their final days. And I also did a legacy project with my mother, doing a photo book, actually, with all of the photos of all of the creations she has done. She
Mm-hmm.
was a seamstress and did wedding dresses and teddy bears.
Oh,
And
wow.
then now she paints.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of her paintings and her bears, well, not all of them, because then the book would be like 1,000 pages, but a good portion of them are in her book. And then she had it printed and gave it to each of her 11 children, have a signed copy of it.
11.
11. Oh, yes. Did I
Big-
not mention that?
No, you did not.
I have 10 sisters and a brother.
Wow.
I'm the second oldest.
Wow.
And
That's a wonderful thing to have.
their names are Linda, Debbie, Dorothy, Colleen, Patty, Kathy, Susie, Mary, Lisa, Teresa, Michael.
One boy.
He's the baby, yes.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's insane.
Yes.
Well, Dad got the one boy out of the bunch.
Yeah, he did.
That's awesome. So, a wonderful, large family. We're again talking to published author Deb Foley. Emma's Song. Can you please tell us where we can buy this, purchase it, get it, read it?
It's available on Amazon.
All
There
right.
is a copy at the Batavia Library
Oh, cool.
in the local authors section.
Okay.
And if you have a Kindle, it's a free read on the Kindle.
Sweet. Awesome. This was obviously a project of passion, a dare that you achieved. And now you can take this book, and it was a sister that dared you?
Couple of sisters,
You
yes.
sit there and wave this right in their face and go, yeah, look at this, pal.
And I'm working on my second one.
Oh,
Just started, so it'll be a while.
congratulations. Deb Foley, this has been wonderful. Thank you for sharing your experiences in dealing with the grief process and how it's made you a better person to work at the Crossroads House and share your counsel with other people there. And why you wrote the book. It has to be, was it a healing, cathartic thing?
Yes, I think when I started it, I didn't realize I needed that healing.
Yes.
But I thought I had finished that. But I think it was good to bring it all back up and work through it in a creative way when I didn't think I was creative. So it was a very interesting experience for me.
Good. I'm glad.
Surprised myself.
Indeed. I think that's awesome, and I'm glad that we can share it with our listeners. A great read that I can't wait to get into myself and share it. You can get it at Amazon, or if you have a Kindle, it's a free read, and it's available here at the library in the local author section. So I encourage you to check it out. Diane Saya, another ace up your sleeve here. Another great guest. So thank you for bringing her by today.
Thank you, Chris. We have a lot of wonderful people in this community, and I think it's really important to give people the opportunity to tell their story. There's always someone who needs to hear it.
Emma's Song, Deborah Foley, please check it out. It's a great read. It's not exceedingly long, just a little over 100 pages. I encourage you to check it out and also to support the Crossroads House. Anything you want to get out there, say hello to before we wrap it up, Deb?
Hi, Mom and Dad. Love you.
Awesome. Diane, anything you want to add before we wrap it up this morning?
Have a great day, everybody. Do what you can with what you got.
Oh, I like it. This segment has been brought to you by the Crossroads House on 100.1, 1490, and now 106.1 FM in Leroy. This is WBTA.